This is Wiggum from Reddit Omega bringing you a recap of war number 217. If you've been watching this channel, you may be wondering where are wars 215 and 216. Well, 215 was a Christmas Day internal scrimmage between Reddit Omega and Omega Labs, and we shuffled up the teams and we tried some experimental based designs and some experimental attacks. And we want to keep that close to our chest, so we're not going to be showing those replays. War number 216 was an easy win for us, but it featured some quality attacks against a level 8 clan. Unfortunately, Supercell in their infinite wisdom decided that implementing the 1 gem boosts needed to negate all of the replayability, so I was unable to get those replays recorded before they were rendered inaccessible. So here we are in War 217, but before I get into that, I want to share with you some exciting news. As you know, Reddit Omega is part of the Reddit War Clan system, and we have a lot of clans that we are allied with. And recently, we entered into discussions to merge with another of those Reddit War Clan system clans. In this case, Reddit Dark. And what happened is yesterday, about 15 members of Reddit Dark joined Reddit Omega. So we currently have a very full clan, and instead of seeing 25 versus 25 wars as we've been seeing in most of our recaps, soon you're going to see 45 or even 50-man wars, and that's going to be very exciting. So we're certainly glad to have them join the Omega family. So you'll be seeing some, if you've been fans of the Dark and even Reddit Omicron in the previous couple of months, you'll see some names in upcoming recaps that are familiar to you. So I want to get into War 217. We're matched up against a Vietnamese level 8 clan. You'll notice they gave up toward the end. We got a lead that was kind of insurmountable. And we had some great attacks from this war, and I'm going to show 5 of them today, starting with, by far the best, a Town Hall 11 3-star. So this features Junyab. Now, Junyab has 3-starred this layout of base at Town Hall 10 many times, including many times in this channel. Now he's going to do it at Town Hall 11. So he's going to zap quake one of the Infernos. And that's important for a couple of reasons. Namely, because it ensures that that Inferno tower will not be hitting his kill squad. So the Griffin Dealy is activated. It's hitting a golem, so that's really no big deal. Queen's proceeding on her AQ walk. She's taken out 1 air defense. The king is going to jump into a compartment and take out a 2nd air defense, and Junie's wasting no time. He's starting his loon attack with his Grand Warden supporting him. Interesting decision. It can float over walls, so it can support an air attack. So he's got a 3-pronged hero attack going here. He's got his queen taking out some core defenses. He's got his king progressing around the north side of the base, and then he's got a La Loon attack covering the rest of the base. Goes and pops that Warden ability right as they arrive at the Inferno. That preserves quite a few loons. Notice a enemy CC Hound is beating on the king. That does absolutely nothing. And before you know it, there are all of 2 defenses remaining. And between this Warden and these remaining loons, that defense is going down, and now it's a matter of cleanup. Now, cleanup does take a bit of time. Town Hall 11, the buildings have more hit points. His queen is occupied by a Lava Hound that has spawned pups. And he doesn't have many pups of his own left, and loons are slow. But his Warden is at max HP, and his queen, thanks to these healers, is also at max HP. So not only does he 3-star a Town Hall 11, but he does it keeping 2 of his 3 heroes at max health, and does it in a kind of a split hero fashion. Very neat to see. We haven't seen a lot of the Town Hall 11 meta yet. Junie chose to use his Grand Warden in support of his La Loon portion of the attack, as opposed to in support of his king leading his kill squad. And he used an AQ walk, so he took out 2 air defenses and then La Loon the remainder of the base, zap quaked Inferno. Really technical attack, but showing the power of using these heroes in a split fashion and taking care of business at Town Hall 11. Next attack I want to show you is Haki Maki on their number 5. Now, Haki Maki had a 6-star war, so very good effort. And here, he's gone ahead and sent a solitary hog in. Now, this was a fresh attack, but we noticed that at Town Hall 9, every single one of their bases, with the exception of maybe 2, ran a hound in the CC, so Haki Maki is gambling on that, and if there wasn't one, he would have just used it in support of his kill squad. So he uses a healer archer trick to occupy that hound, used a builder hut as an anchor. In this case, he got away with it because the hound got out there quickly, but sometimes that can backfire because the 2 archers will actually take out that builder hut before the hound arrives. Okay, so his kill squad's going along swimmingly. He had a wall breaker fail, so he has to use that jump to get his king further into the base. And now he's going to deploy hogs in a surgical fashion. Haki Maki is really, really good at hog deployment, as I've learned in the few attacks that I've seen from him. Very nice surgical deployment. What this does is it diminishes the effectiveness of giant bombs, particularly double giant bombs, because double giant bombs may catch at most 5 or 6 hogs. And most all of us who go-ho at Town Hall 9 would gladly trade 5 or 6 hogs for a double giant bomb. So heals are optimally placed. He's got 1 more hog that he can drop. Very few point defenses remaining. Queen is still alive. King is hitting his hogs. He could poison that king. Speaking of poisoning that king, there he goes. His archer queen almost gets taken down by that double giant bomb. But high-level heroes really do give you a lot of leeway here. In this case, the raid would have gone along just fine. He would have still succeeded even with that AQ down. But what would have happened is the cleanup probably would have taken so long that the hound probably would have spawned pups, and that would have slowed things down a bit. With this many hogs, it just doesn't matter. And in no time at all, the base is cleaned up. So, really nice fresh attack. There were double giant bombs, but he hogged around it perfectly. Okay, next attack is Apex Southpaw on their number 7. This was also a fresh attack. This is kind of an anti-3 setup. What Apex is going to do is he's going to EQ his way to open that base to access the Archer Queen, and then he's going to do a Stoned Go-Ho. Now he's running 2 heals and 1 rage. There are a couple of different ways to deal with a CC Hound. You can ignore it if you can just use ground units, like if you use a lot of Valks, for example. You can also use the healer archer trick if you know there's a hound in the CC, or you can bring a rage spell. And on a fresh attack, the rage spell makes the most sense, because what this says is even if there's a hound, you're just going to blow through it, and you see 5 wizards plus an archer queen under rage just obliterate that hound in no time at all. And that leaves his kill squad able to penetrate really far into this base, so they take out lots of point defenses, which is going to make hogging a lot easier. Notice how this base is shaped to set up for hogging. Kind of a horseshoe layout left. And still has some tanking going on in the core. See his golems take out a double giant bomb that was really far into the base, so that's always lovely. And this is why 2 heals are sufficient, because he's able to take out so much of the base, and you see 1 heal catches that single giant bomb perfectly. Queen's still alive. She's tanking a mortar. And you see there are about 5 point defenses left, 3 of which are a threat to hogs. The rest are not. Goes in, pops his queen ability just to take out buildings quicker. And that second heal is perfectly placed to have the hogs at full health as they take on this lowly mortar. And then from here, it's just very straightforward cleanup. You notice he's got cleanup deployed on both sides, converging toward the middle. It's exactly what you want to see. Flawless, flawless raid for a fresh attack. And very instructive in the use of the rage spell. So remember those 3 different ways of dealing with a CC Hound at Town Hall 9. You can either lure it with a healer archer trick, you can ignore it with a heavy base ground attack like a Gova Ho attack, or you can rage through it. There's actually a fourth way, which is to do an AQ walk and to pull it into the AQ when she's not tanking many point defenses. We see that sometimes as well, particularly now that 30 seconds has been added to the clock for Town Hall 9. So those are 4 methods of dealing with a CC Hound, which is more and more common now that dragon CCs are poisonable. Apex almost had a 6-star war. He had a 3-star and then a 99% 2-star. Next, Megatron. Now, actually, let me show you Shadow first. Shadow had a 6-star war. And here he is taking on the number 23 with the very instructive Shattered Goho. Now, this is a pretty bad base. It is a ring-style base. There's only one potential double giant bomb spot. And Shadow doesn't know what's in the CC. This is a fresh attack, so he brought 2 poisons in case it's a dragon, and 3 heals and a jump, very standard. Now he's going to go with a narrow funnel. This makes sense since there's only 1 point defense, since he only saw 1 point defense on this side. Note 2 wizards taking out each storage. High hit point storages, you can't let them slow you down too much, so it is wise to commit a second wizard to them. Now he's got his first poison down, and he goes ahead and drops his second poison there. That wasn't necessary. The second poison isn't needed to take down this dragon. Instead, what he could do is simply let his Archer Queen and wizards do the trick. King jumps into the Archer Queen, takes her out, and now he's set up to hog. He's going to drop a giant to distract that cannon. Saves one of his hogs. So a fairly even trade. And now he's going to drop his hogs essentially on a corner of the base, and he's going to go ahead and heal that center where he thought there was going to be a potential double giant bomb. Turns out it's some Teslas, so that heal is optimally placed. Now he's going to go ahead and drop a second heal kind of at the intersection of 4 of these point defenses because the hogs are going to be in there for a while, so it's useful to get them at full health. Spring Traps does slow him down a little bit, but at this point, it's too late. His heroes are also down, but they've done their job. Low-level heroes, you can't really count on them lasting until the end of the raid, like you can when they're, say, level 20 or higher. And you notice he has a heal spell left. So because of the weakness of this base, and because of the way he was able to path his hogs, there he goes, just kind of a swag heal. Have those hogs at absolute full health at the end of the raid. And you'll note there is some cleanup necessary down below, so his wizards could have been dropped. His cleanup wizards could have been dropped a little bit better, but it doesn't matter. He finishes with about a minute to spare, so no issues. And last attack is Megatron, who also had 6 fresh stars for us. Now, this is a very bad base. Don't use this base. This is called the Taylor base, and I like to call it the Master Special because in the era of, well, pre-patch era when sniping still existed, this was a pretty popular base to see in Masters, and I used to love to see it when I was farming with Super Queen because it was very easy to get the DE on this base. So typically in this base, you see giant bombs in each of the 4 corners. So I like to think of this base as quadrants, 4 quadrants with a core. So he's going to send a hog in to lure the CC. Probably should have done that first so he could have poisoned it down, but it's not a huge deal. So he's going to attack one of these quadrants, and then he's going to jump his kill squad into the core. Now, this is a useful poison. The poison gets that CC. It doesn't quite get the Archer Queen. It would be nice to get that Archer Queen as well, just to slow down her attack speed. But it's certainly useful to slow down the attack speed of those loons and dragons. And now, with the Archer Queen and CC addressed, he's going to go ahead and hog. So he's trickling in hogs here. The reason he's doing this is because there could be double giant bombs. Okay, there's a single. So this means it's time to heal that group of hogs. His Archer King, his Barbarian King is pretty much taken out the core along with some wizards. Now his hogs are sweeping through there to take out all the point defenses there. Hogs are converging nicely. This is going to line them up really well for a heal spell. Archer Queen still has her ability. You'll note he still has 8 hogs left that he hasn't deployed. His Archer Queen ability, a heal, and a poison. A wizard and a wall breaker. So he's got 46 supply out of 220 that he hasn't used, and he hasn't used his ability, and he's only used about 3/4 of his spells, and he doesn't need to use any more than that because this base is cleared. So if you're using this base, this is really what's going to happen to you against a skilled attacker, because this is a very known web base, and Megatron shows how to annihilate it. So I hope you enjoyed those 5 attacks. Stay tuned for, I'll actually give you a preview of our current war. We are doing a 40-man war for our next war, and we're going up against a clan that has like 25, or almost over 30 Town Hall 10s or Town Hall 11s. They're all pretty much that way, and we have 9. Now, granted, a lot of them are rushed, so I'm still predicting a victory for the good guys, but it'll be interesting to see this recap and see how we abuse those bases. So look for that in about 2 days or so. Anyway, hope you enjoyed.